Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and welcome to a testing video, but it's not really a testing video, it's kind of like a live stream too. In this video slash live stream, we're gonna be looking back at 9 years. We're not gonna look at every single video from the last 9 years, but 9 years and 333 videos worth of this is YouTube only, yes. Nine years and 333 videos worth of testing videos, specifically in the Best Fully Upgraded Cars series. This is the final video of the Best Fully Upgraded Cars series, the 333rd, and I thought we'd do it as a little bit of a live stream. It's not going to be like a 4-hour long crazy live stream, right? It's going to be a shorter, we'll keep it to the point. I've got specific things that I want to sort of highlight and talk about and go through, and for the video version of this I'll put timestamps for it afterwards so you can skip to whatever you want. But yeah, the Best Fully Upgraded Car series sort of has finished because I'm now doing the new testing series. And towards the end of this live stream slash video, we will be looking at differences in the lap times between the old testing on old gen to the new testing for the 8 classes I've done so far. But yeah, I thought, that series has finished, but it kind of needed a final video. It was deserving of a final video, and that's what this is. Just looking back, going through how it started, where it came from, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, like I say, also getting to see that comparison between the old testing and the new testing. So yeah, live stream, because I thought we could do it with, community interaction. It's not gonna be like a standard live stream where I'm really interacting with you guys a load and wasting a load of time just chatting and chilling with you guys. We're gonna be streaming GTA 4 after this on Twitch. That's when we can do all of that. But at least we can have some chat interaction, and I'm not gonna answer anything off topic or anything like that. But you guys are here. We can talk about it. We can check it all out together. And I thought it was a nice way to finish off the series, because it's crazy how long that series was going. And I thought I'd wear the Keep Calm and Continue Testing t-shirt as well. You can get this design on mugs, stickers, t-shirts, hoodies, store.bruffy.com. How rude. All right. There is a little bit of summer cam as well. I thought I'd set that up because she's with me today, because Zexy's away. So we got Summer in the rig. You can see her there. All right. So let's get to it. Oh, thank you very much for the $20 MX dollar. What's MX dollar? MX Mexican dollar? It'll pop up on the screen when YouTube decides to actually catch up. It takes forever with super chats, but thank you very much, Rue Shady, for the super chat. I hope Rockstar takes cars as seriously as you, bruv. We'll see in GTA 6, I suppose. I mean, the whole thing with the new testing series has been preparing myself and preparing the new testing for GTA 6, and we'll follow the same format and stuff like that, because I was feeling like the Best Fully Upgraded Car series, it was nearing its end. I wanted to incorporate top speed as well. We'll get onto that towards the end when we talk about how I transitioned into the new video and the new series. And there you go. There's the super chat. Thank you very much. Right, so where are we at? There. My website. You guys know this like the back of your hand at this point, right? If you go to the YouTube section, which you can just go here, and you go to GTA 5, you can see multiple. By the way, this is how you find every single video that I've ever uploaded. It's all categorized beautifully, perfectly. Like, every single video is in a playlist. Every playlist is linked on here. You can check it all out. But on the GTA 5 section, we've got vehicle testing, and there's 3 main aspects to it, right? So there was original testing, previous testing, and current testing. There's also other bits. You can see the car testing videos by chronological playlists. I'm not planning to look at that, but maybe we will. The track links and all this kind of stuff. But it all started from the original testing. We're not going to go into that too much because I covered a decent amount of this during the 10-year anniversary live stream that I did. If anyone didn't see that, I think it's linked in the description of this as well. I've put it there anyway, where I looked back over the last 10 years of video making on my 10-year anniversary of uploading my first GTA video, I think it was. But this is where I started. Obviously, I did stock car testing back in the day, and this was my most viewed video for a long time. And I did that on sort of 360. I don't know whether I went into the PS3 era, the PS4 and Xbox One era with this series, but it certainly started all on Xbox 360 days. And towards the end of this series, I put out a call to say, hey, I would like to test all of the vehicles fully upgraded, but I need money to do it, basically. And this was the series that got my channel kickstarted, and that's what people found me from mostly. And then I'd built up a little bit of a community from this, and I was like, okay, I want to test everything fully upgraded, but I can't afford to do that. So people donated to me to get me. So I was able to buy shark cards so that I could buy and fully upgrade every single vehicle, and that's how the fully upgraded testing series started in the first place. So if I go back, so the previous testing, and this is where this all started. So we had our introduction and information video as number 1. 100% worth for those who did it. Yeah, I gave them their money's worth, I guess. Let's see how I sounded. This is back in October 2014. So I was testing cars for about a year before I then went to test them fully upgraded. Let's see. Hello everyone, I'm Baruffy1322 and welcome to this highly anticipated countdown to the best fully upgraded cars in Grand Theft Auto Online. Highly anticipated countdown. This was literally just an informational video. And get exactly the same lap time as well, so you don't need to worry about that. So first of all, we'll be seeing all of the cars. We'll go from 140th place in the cars all the way up to the first place. Specifically made for testing. It's been created specifically for testing in mind. Talking about the track now. Of every single corner that you're likely to see, and we'll test a car on every single aspect of its abilities. It's a little bit just less enthusiastic now. You already sound happy at what happened. I was excited back then, I guess. Highly anticipated. To be fair, it kind of was, considering I'd done all of the testing from stock vehicles and people knew me from that at that point. For me to suddenly test everything fully upgraded, it was more relevant, and it was anticipated. People wanted to see it, and people had donated to get me to see it. So, the way that I introduced it, ironically, I say that it's an informative and informational video first off, but there also is for the new series that the video where it's like I tested every car in GTA 5. That's basically a video that sets up the whole series, and it's almost necessary viewing at this stage because there's just so much stuff that you need to know to understand. I'm not going to repeat it in every single video, but yeah, I went. This is how I introduced it. I did. I think I released one of these videos every day. So we started with the 140 to 121st places, and then went down, and eventually we did 20th to 11th, 10 to 6, and then the top 5. So that was the original countdown, if you like. Now that didn't actually include everything. I know you're saying 140 cars, damn, those were the days and all that. Nowadays, the sports class does almost have this amount, that's true. But this was, I did miss some. There were some that couldn't be tested back then. It's a lot easier to test obscure vehicles now, like vehicles that you can't use in regular races because of transform races and stuff like that. And I just found other workarounds to test unraceable vehicles a lot over the years. And then the fastest motorbikes, I'm pretty sure that was a Christmas special as a surprise. Oh no, it wasn't. 11th of November 2014. Either way, it was like a little surprise. Oh, the fastest supercars was Christmas, I think. Is that a Christmas Day video? Christmas Eve. Yeah. So basically, I did the countdown, and then I went by class. So I did the whole countdown of all of them, and then by class. So we had supercars, sports cars, muscle cars, coupes, sports classics, sedans, SUVs, compacts, and that is exactly the same order that you see for the new series as well. I'm pretty sure, anyway. No, it isn't. I did coupes before sports classics. Interesting. I've always generally based the order on what's most viewed in terms of what's most popular. Supercars was always the most popular, then sports cars, muscle, sports classics was more popular than coupes. Just that's how I've always done it. But obviously back then I thought coupes was more popular than sports classics. Time to redo the whole series. No, the new series has it in the right order. It's just this that was different. You can see how my thumbnails were very busy back then as well. I had all sorts of stuff on them. So that's how it all started. That's where, you know, and I tested every raceable class back then. I still remember the off-road vehicles and all the comments of, why don't you test on an off-road track? I had to, like, I'm going to get that again when I do the off-road testing video for the new series, I'm sure. But I tested every single raceable car at that time. Let's look at sports, actually. In 2015, how many sports cars were there? Oh, that was a Christmas special. So I did the supercars video on the 24th and the sports cars video on the 25th of 2014. Is that 24?
I'm going to be
there were 24 sports cars.
10. And obviously in 20.
That's only 5 more than there were at launch. I'm pretty sure there was only 19 at launch, so they added 5 over a year and a half. Well, a year and a bit. Damn. The top dog, as ever. So that was the basis for the original series. We had the original countdown, and then I went by class. And then once that was all out, that was like everything was set. People would find it in YouTube search results and all that kind of stuff. So then we had the first DLC video for the series, which was the Heists DLC.
Useful for free roam, just to sort of get away from people quickly.
Electro, yeah. So all the vehicles, I tested all the vehicles from the Heist DLC.
Absolutely.
I remember them. They were previously locked behind doing the heists, weren't they? Now you can buy them, and it's a trade prices locked behind the heists. But you had to. I did all the heists like as quickly as I could, so that I could unlock the vehicles specifically to test them. Yeah, these were. I think was I still testing on? I wasn't still testing on 360, was I? 2015. No, new gen would have been out by then. Yeah, new gen was early 2014, wasn't it? Well, middle gen, whatever you want to call it now. So we had the first DLC, and then I went into spin-off land. So as you can see, the fastest 6-seater vehicles, the fastest 4-seater vehicles, 2-seater, 1-seater. I'm curious, actually, what was the fastest 1-seater vehicle in 2015? Looks like
Very
a Blazer.
many one-seater vehicles. Some.
Oh, the Sovereign. Okay, of course. All right. Okay. And the reason I did the spin-offs is I was curious myself. Like, you know, this was before the days of, for example, GTAcars.net that we have now, where you were able to, you know, you're able to filter by 4-seat vehicles, 6-seat vehicles, and just filter it all and sort it all yourself. I had to do all this sort of, in a way, manually from my own spreadsheets and whatnot. And I was just curious what the fastest 6-seater vehicles were, or what the top 10 fastest were, or same for 4-seaters. And there was a certain amount of pushback to these after a while. Damn, the all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive videos did quite well. In fact, the fastest 4-seater did well. They were, in general, I think initially, when I was doing, you know, these ones, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, electric, convertible, open top, fastest cars for under 100k, I think people were okay with these, but then when I kept going and thinking of new ways to organize them and stuff, people were like, oh, recycled content and all this kind of stuff. And I get that, you know, it is the same. There's an element where you can't do, and I'll probably continue to do this for the new series at least a little bit, because I like categorizing the vehicles in different ways, but you can only do it once you've tested everything, because, you know, if you can test all the main raceable classes, for example, and then you do a faster 6-seater vehicles, but there's a 6-seater vehicle in a non-raceable class that you haven't tested yet that would have been in the top 5 or the best or something. So you can't do these spin-offs until you've tested everything, so that you know that you haven't missed anything when you're recategorizing it. Yeah, the BR8 would be the fastest 1-seater now. That would make sense. So, you know, it's probably something that I will revisit with the new series if we last long enough to be able to do that, at least in a few videos maybe, before GTA 6. But then I went to the it's like, I guess you could consider these parts of the spin-off videos, the industrial, service, commercial, emergency vehicles, even boats, helicopters, and planes. Like, I was kind of known for testing the raceable cars. We obviously had the Ill-Gotten Gains DLCs in there as well, but I was mainly focused on testing the raceable stuff because that was what was most appropriate and interesting and most useful. But I always wanted to test everything, right? Like, I was curious what the fastest military vehicle was, what the fastest industrial vehicle was. You know, these obscure classes like service, commercial. Most people probably don't even know which vehicles are in the industrial vehicles class, or the fact that it's a class at all. But that's what I enjoy testing the most, to be honest. Like, I enjoy testing the obscure vehicles more than I enjoy testing the supercars, like 100%. And I am going to continue to do these classes for the new series as well. I will be going through, and it's a lot easier to test for them now as well with the Transform Race Creator and stuff like that. But, like, you know, the emergency vehicles video, we're talking middle of 2015 in July. I had already tested all of the emergency class vehicles. I would need to retest them now because I'm retesting everything. But, you know, I think a lot of people missed these videos in comparison to the others, and the information has been out there for a long time. I've tested all of these vehicles for a long time. Why is there a mule at the start of this video?
In the previous episode, we looked at the commercial class of vehicles, and I tested the mule. Now, the mule that I tested in that video was the armoured version of the mule, which was introduced with the Heists update, and it's actually much quicker than the regular version of the mule.
That's true. That is true. There are multiple mules, but 2 different versions in terms of performance, and the heist version is a lot quicker than the regular version. So yeah, I used to do little updates within these videos as well. But yeah, there's that, as we know, that new DLC is coming on Tuesday, and that's going to bring some more emergency vehicles, and I will be testing those eventually. But I'm going to do a new up-to-date emergency vehicles testing video. But you still can't race with emergency vehicles. There's still no way to select emergency vehicles in a regular race, which I think is a shame. And the same for commercial, industrial, service. They should all be raceable, really, even if it's just their stock versions and non-owned. But especially now that we can own a lot of these emergency vehicles, hopefully they'll make some of the current emergency vehicles ownable as well, like they did with the unmarked cruiser. But we'll see. But yeah, I will get to doing that with the new testing series. Boats, helicopters, planes, probably not going to retest those as part of the new series. Same goes for motorcycles, just putting it out there. I don't really want to think about that again at this late stage in the game anyway. I think I'll just focus on the cars. And then I think before we get to this sort of like top 25 fastest, I'm pretty sure I introduced the top speed testing at this point. Yeah, that was 2015 as well. So I kind of realized that, my lap time testing wasn't the full story in a way, and there was an interest in top speed testing. And I kind of wanted to do it properly also, because back then, especially, I mean, even now most of the time, but especially back then, a lot of it was just airport drag races. This is the fastest car because it won this airport drag race, which, airport drag races are fine for what they are, but they're also very inaccurate in general, and you can get 5 different results 5 different times that you do it. But people were making assumptions about the top speed of a vehicle, saying, oh, that's the fastest car for top speed, from an airport drag race where none of the cars ever got to top speed ever, because you're just fully accelerating all the way. It's not long enough. So I kind of wanted to do top speed testing properly, and then it would also be a good pairing with the lap time testing, and then people are getting both sides of the spectrum. I remember stumbling upon you trying to prove to my friends that the Adder was worse than the Entity. Now I'm a community verified track maker running my own racing server. It's been a fun run. I can't thank you enough. Well, thank you, Whiteout. I'm glad that, I mean, everything that I've done has kind of spawned from this testing, I guess. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose I did do top speed testing in the very early days on that fact finding video where I proved that the Adder wasn't the fastest car in the game even at launch, because the Z-Type was faster than it in terms of top speed. But in 2015, was the 811 out by then or not? The 811's gone through a few. No, the Adder was there. It is. The Adder number 1. That's all you need to see. Number 1, Adder. We don't need to think about anything else that happened after this or any other testing. The Adder is the number 1 car. That's all we need to see. First place, little medal. That was I used to do back then. Adder, best car in the game. So yeah, the top speed testing came in about then, and I think that was like, I did the same thing again. How you can see I've got sports classics before coupes this time. I did the same thing again. I think the top speed testing was never as popular as a whole as the lap time testing, but in short bursts, the top speed testing could outperform the lap time testing, especially sort of, I think it was the fastest supercars video in 2017 always had more views than the fastest supercars lap time video, and I think the same was true for the 2020, but we'll come on to that. I never used to do as many offshoots and spin-offs with the top speed stuff. It was more very informative, very short videos, just, getting the information out as quickly as possible. There's the 811 making its debut. Where's the Pariah? Oh, okay, we'll come on to it. So, yeah, top speed testing was introduced, and then they went sort of hand in hand for a while. Well, for a long time, really. I was doing... And again, it was going back to some of the spin-offs in terms of the top 25. I tend to do this where if it's been a long time and we've had a lot of different DLCs changing the order of things, I would, put a new... It wouldn't be a full fastest supercars video because it's just too much to do every single 6 months or something like that. But I'd do a variation on it, so the top 25 fastest cars. So then you've got the full list of where the new vehicles that might have been added in a DLC fit into the overall list of everything else. And I think this is when we started to get a few, like the fastest rare vehicles, fastest snow. I remember this. I love this video. The fastest snow vehicles. Wasn't this a Christmas video? Yeah, Christmas Day 2015.
Hello everyone, I'm Brophy1322.
I put the Santa hat on the little Stig icon.
Welcome to a special edition video showing the...
But yeah, I tested all the snow vehicles in the snow
46.9
for a Christmas special. And the police road cruiser
1 minute 25.3
was
a good
number
3
one.
seconds quicker than what we've just seen from the ACA.
But all the North Yankton vehicles, basically, all 13 of them. And I used to love doing little spin-offs like this and testing things that most people would never drive or you would never use in this kind of situation. Like I loved doing that, and also being able to impart some information with that as well. Like the fact that the ACA, the what is it? Yeah, the Sadler, the Fieldmaster, they're all just the same as their regular versions, just with almost a different livery that has snow on it. But the police road cruiser is a completely unique model, and it's based on the Esperanto from GTA 4. Like I would always, even in the spin-offs or even in the sort of April Fool's videos or something like that, I would always try to actually still give some interesting information, so it wasn't just a case of a useless video just for fun. But yeah, I used to do it because back then I would find new ways also to test videos that you can't, vehicles that you can't normally test, like rare vehicles. This was the Pisswasser Dominator and stuff back then that you couldn't actually use in races. This was when they were added to single player. What else was there? Fastest untestable vehicles, which contained, again, vehicles that just aren't available in races, and I found a way to test them through various means. And then it was a lot of DLC stuff. Obviously, DLC updates fill in a lot of the gaps for testing a lot of the time. But then this was probably one of the most controversial of the videos. The fastest yachts. Does anyone remember this? 8 years ago, early 2016. Now, I had good intentions with this, right? And I thought I explained myself pretty well.
Hello everyone, I'm Brophy1322, and in this video I'm going to be showing the fastest yachts in GTA Online. This is a special edition spin-off video within my usual testing series to give an alternative view on some of the vehicles with different categorizations. If you want to know how all vehicles perform in a variety of different classes, is that you cannot drive these yachts. There's no way to actually control them.
See, I said it up front. I said it immediately. You cannot drive these yachts.
Doing is taking the average lap time of the vehicles that you get with each yacht. So in third place, we've got the Orion. It's the cheap.
And I wanted to actually, I feel like there was some benefit to be made with this, because I was comparing the yachts and all the stuff that you get on the yachts. So the cheapest, because the point I was trying to make was that the most expensive yacht wasn't actually the best in terms of the vehicles that you got. Obviously, this is the cheapest one, which doesn't have very much stuff and it's pretty slow. But then the most expensive yacht is in second place, because the stuff that you get on it actually isn't as quick as the stuff that you get from the slightly less expensive yacht, and that's actually the best. That was the point I was trying to make. But putting out fastest yachts like that, yeah, people weren't happy, that I sort of, because I think people just assumed that I'd found a way to drive them. And my intention, like, you know, I don't intentionally clickbait anyone, and you guys know that at this point. But obviously, I unintentionally did on this one. Fastest apartments next, please. Yeah. I probably should have put it up as an April Fool's video, to be fair. So let's see. More DLC stuff. Fastest race cars, which was just, I think it was just taking all the liveried vehicles that we had at that point. We're into 2016. Fastest vehicles by class. And then I did this top 25 slowest vehicles as well. You know, again, fastest weather. I liked this one. I thought this one was all right. Because I took the, again, trying to impart some useful information because back then, people thought that you got comments all the time saying, the weather makes no difference to the performance or anything like that. And I wanted to show people that it does. Of course it does. You know, taking the same car around the same track in the 3 different weather conditions you can have: snow in 3rd place, rain in 2nd place, and then dry. And then I did a comparison lap at the end. I thought, you get some. It's interesting. I think the testing videos didn't. I felt like the testing videos didn't always have to be purely informative, and if there was no new information, there should be no testing video. I liked the idea of creating something that might be fun to watch, even if it was utilizing lap times that are already in previous videos. Some people liked that, some people didn't. But that's I enjoyed recategorizing things, looking at things different ways. Like, people knew what the top 25 slowest vehicles were, or could work it out from all the previous videos in the series when I uploaded this. But it was a lot easier to just watch this video that had them all laid out. I didn't do the top speed testing in these ways. No, I generally didn't do spin-offs like this for the top speed testing. It was mainly all the lap time stuff. So I never actually tested the top speed in different weather. Although I think from what I understand, rain is quicker top speed. Rain gives you an improved top speed, and I think snow is even better than in that way. More DLC stuff, and obviously the Cunning Stunts update. Lot of videos. A lot of videos. When I'm uploading every single video, every single car gets a new video. It quickly balloons, and that's why we've got 333 videos in the series now. We get to the 2017. I thought by the time we got to 2017, I did fastest stock vehicles in 2017. I've done this periodically over the years. Fastest stock vehicles by class, and given alternatives. Like, and usually the fastest is whatever has an active spoiler, or it was back then. Now it might be related to downforce. I don't discount doing that again for a one-off video in the future, but it's always a low priority, stock vehicles, because most people are racing fully upgraded stuff. But yeah, then we got to sort of 2017, and I felt like both series needed brand new full class specific videos. So I think I had this for I think I released them fairly consistently. So I had the Supercars 2017 video, then the top speed for the lap time, and then for the top speed back to back sort of thing. Damn, there was still only 27 bullet last, as always. 27 Supercars in 2017. Damn. It's ballooned crazy. Well, I suppose we still got many years to go. So yeah, I went through all the classes again for both lap time and top speed, and I was feeling good at that point, because it's nice to redo everything and have it all present and correct, like it is right now for the new series. Before the new DLC comes out in a few days, that series is accurate. The videos contain every single vehicle in each of the classes that I've done. And I like it in those moments. They happen rarely because we get DLC vehicles all the time. But yeah, that was that. This was another moment like that in 2017. And then a lot of it after that was just DLC vehicles. I did an updated Supercars video in 2018. when the Vigilante came out. And I guess I did other. I guess I did. It's pretty quick to do from 2017 to 2018. I wouldn't leave it. I wouldn't do it that quick these days. But we were getting a lot of DLC vehicles back then, and quite frequent as well. So things needed updating. And as you can see, I mean, the number of videos I'm doing. Again, emergency vehicles, military vehicles, cycles. I'm sort of. I think this was I think 2018 was retesting, wasn't it? I think there was an element of 2017 where I was still using some old lap times. 2018 was sort of completely fresh. Fastest cars by class for racing, fastest classes by taking the average lap times of each of them, and then I went into more of the spin-offs again with all of the new lap times. Again, I like doing that. So much retesting of the advanced handling flags.
Cali GTO gets a scarcely believable 59.7 second lap. It's the first ever sports car to get under 1 minute for its lap time, and that would put it into the top 10 and close to the top 5 for the Supers class.
It's crazy, man. So this was after the advanced handling flags were toned down a little bit, and most of the stuff went quicker. But this is the thing, when I do these testing videos, I always have to update things. If things change, I have to retest, and it's the retesting that I dislike the most, because I feel like, okay, I've tested it now, can we be done? You can see that my thumbnails have changed at this point. Where was it? Yeah, so for 2019 the thumbnails changed to match the format that I had on other videos into the top 10. But yeah, what I was finding, I think it was around this stage, after I'd been doing both of the series for a few years, at this point, I was starting to really get sick of having to make 2 videos for every single vehicle, every single time something released. When it came to, and then that was for the retesting as well, and then every time a new vehicle was released, I'd upload the lap time video on the morning and then the top speed video a few hours after that. And it just got to be so many videos. And then we came to the 2020 series where, again, because we were just getting so much, I wanted to collate everything together again. And I did this for both lap time and top speed. Got the updated intro and everything at that point by 2020. All the updated colors and whatnot. We had all the timestamps. Damn, still only 44 in 2020 for supercars. And damn, it's almost at 1 million views, this video. Not quite yet. Crazy. So this was probably the most successful era of my testing videos. The 2020, I mean, everything was up in 2020, I suppose, when it comes to my online stuff. But yeah, these are the videos from all my testing that have got the most views. And these are the first videos that surpassed that original Supers and Sports testing video on old gen of stock vehicles. These are the only ones that have ever surpassed that. So there was obviously this one, which is almost at 1 million views. But the top speed video, if we go back to that, I think, is that still the only video on this entire channel that's got over 1 million views? It might be. See, again, there's just so many videos for new DLC vehicles, and I always hated having to make 2 videos per vehicle. And I just couldn't figure out really a way to combine them, because they were such separate, disparate series. Where are we at? Krieger 2020. Compact 2020? Okay, I've just gone past it. Supercars 2020, 1.1 million views. There we go. I think this is the most viewed video on this channel. Definitely not the most viewed video on the most viewed video on the second channel has like 3 million at this point. But yeah, this is the most viewed testing video, the Supercars top speed video. Udveste was second.
Corners.
The 811 was number 1 back then. but yeah, this was, you know, this was I kind of, I was always there was a little bit of me that was a little bit disappointed about the fact that the top speed video had more views than the lap time video, because lap time is what I care about most. But you know, at least people were seeing the proper testing for something like this and getting the right information. And we kept going, man. We kept going. Like, it's so many videos and so many vehicles that have been tested and retested over the years. I can't even imagine how many laps I've done of the track. Like, you can put it in, you can I wish I'd sort of started counting from when I very first started. You can sort of put a number on it, but it's a best guess sort of estimate, because you can't even just do, say, 10 laps for the number of vehicles there are right now, because I've retested and retested again and retested a third time. But yeah, the Top Speed series didn't have much going on really after the 2020 series. I would obviously do the update videos for the DLC cars, but there was a period in sort of 2021 where I stopped uploading Top Speed. I think it was because I was giving that information in the weekly update videos, and then I moved it into the lap time videos. We'll come on to that. Let's see. So let's go down. So yeah, we got the Tuners DLC. I was changing the way that I was titling things at that point to try and keep things a bit better categorized, instead of just doing, you know, fastest sports cars, Italia RSX and Vito karts, and then combining it and spreading each DLC out. I would just bring all the DLCs together. The manufacturers were quite fun. I enjoyed categorizing by manufacturers. Again, spin-off videos. And usually the spin-off videos happened when there was no DLC vehicles to test or anything like that. But yeah, it was fun to categorize all the cars by manufacturer. And then we had the Tuners DLC, and continued with the manufacturers. Thank you guys for the bits and the donation. I'll read them out in a second. And then we got to, yeah, the contract DLC, and this is where I started to. Is this where I started to experiment with putting them both together, the Top Speed and the? Did I do that with Tuners as well? Actually, let's have a look. Previan. Did I have the Top Speed for the Previan in here as well?
Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322,
so
and this video says an update for the fastest
this.
tuners.
Contract DLC cars, maybe.
Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322.
No, I didn't even have the Top Speed in there. I thought maybe it was 2022 when I started putting the Top Speed in. Let's see. It's SM722.
Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322.
Not there either. Interesting. 10F. Let's see. I want to find out where I first started doing this now.
Hello everyone.
It's later than I thought it was. I thought because was it even just the latest DLC? Because I don't think I had. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's Top Speed for Drug Wars.
Which is unfortunate.
So we had the lap time and the top speed for each car in the best video in the lap time video, basically. And this was sort of experimenting for how I would potentially combine them in a new series. At this point, I was already starting to think about the future of things, and especially for the 2022 series started with another countdown again. And I think I was saying in this video, or these few videos, how this is like the beginning of the end for this series, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. But I wanted to sort of finish off how we started with a big countdown. And obviously, back when we very first started, it was, well, I can't even go that high. It was 140 vehicles, and now it was 522 vehicles. And if I did it now, it would be even more. But we went through every single vehicle across 5 videos, and we even had a top 100. I enjoyed putting these together. It was fun. And then that's when I was like, during the course of doing this and sort of thinking about this being the beginning of the end of the series, I was thinking about, okay, if I've got it within me to test again, how does that look going into the future? What would a new series do? And I think that's when I started to not do the top speed testing series videos, and I would instead put the top speed in the lap time videos, because I didn't want to be making, I was sick basically of making 2 videos on the same car when I could have just put it all in one, especially when those videos are like 2 minutes each. So yeah, I started putting the top speed in, and because the DLCs were sort of one vehicle at a time, I could do that more realistically, of being able to do lap time and then show the top speed and then do a few comparisons at the end. But I could never quite figure out how to do it if I was to do a full countdown of every single class for lap time and top speed. I could never quite coalesce that, and that was a problem even when I originally did the testing back in the day with the top, when I introduced the top speed testing series. And even back then there was a few people who would say, why don't you just put it all in the same series? And I could never quite coalesce in my brain how that would work out, or how I would be able to do that for the best, because they're just so different metrics. You know, that the overall order for the supercars for top speed is completely different to the overall order for the supercars for lap time. So it was never a good way to do that. Obviously now we know how that problem was solved, and it was through the tier system. But that's what I was starting to think about at this point. How could I bring them together and not have 2 separate series? Let me just swap that. So, you know, I kind of 2023, we had the fastest cars by class for racing again. I was just kind of like trying to remember that keep people up to date as best I could, in terms of what the best cars are to use, without having to then make brand new class specific testing videos, because I knew that I would need to retest everything at this point. We were on new platforms, PS4, Xbox Series. The lap times were going to be different on the new platforms. I knew that if I wanted to do a new fastest supercars video, I would have to retest everything for that. And I think that was just trying to sort of keep my eye in with the testing videos to keep people informed as best as possible, whilst I started to go through that process in the background, because it was early 2023 when I first started retesting stuff, just to see if I had it in me to do that, to be honest. And I think it was the Mercenaries DLC where I started to... Is it where I started to test the side-by-side?
1322
no. Chop Shop DLC Cars Final one? Or maybe Mercenary. Was it Mercenaries All? Yeah, there it was. So this was sort of... You can see now how this has turned into the new series. But this was where I started to... I basically used the end of the lap time testing series, the best fully upgraded car series, to run some tests for how the new series would be. And that's what you can see here. Obviously, we got the lap time on the left, the top speed on the right, all displayed at the bottom, where it is in the class for each metric. And that is what has now pushed through into the new series with the tier system over the top of it. And this is what I had in mind, and I was testing with this and then displaying it like this to see what people thought about it. Reaction was positive on these videos. People liked having it all in one video, not having to look at 2 videos on 2 different metrics. And then the final video in the series, the Chop Shop DLC cars. And I'm curious. Yeah, so this was just before the release of the 2024 Supercars video. So this isn't all of the Chop Shop DLC cars. This is just day 1 Chop Shop DLC cars. But the reason that there aren't any more videos about the Chop Shop DLC cars after this is because they're all just part of the new series. So this was the final actual testing video, and you can see again how this has morphed into what the new series is all about. And that was it. That was the last one, apart from this video, which is now putting it all together. What was the last video in the Top Speed series, actually? Criminal Enterprises DLC cars, LM87, Torero, and more. Yeah, I definitely, yeah. So Criminal Enterprises, that must be when I started to put at least some information about the Top Speed elsewhere, whether it was in a weekly update or whether it was the lap time testing video. And yeah, I mean, Top Speed testing itself had 183 videos in it. So across the 2 series, there's over 500 testing videos, which is bloody ridiculous, to be honest. And like I said, that all sort of evolved into what we have now. The new testing series that you've seen. We've got 8 classes complete for 2024. Which I'm happy about. I feel like these are the core classes. Vans would have been next and open wheel and stuff, but they're going to have to wait until after the new DLC. But I'm happy that I managed to get, and you can see that order coming in again. Supercars, sports cars, muscle, sports classics, coupes, sedans, SUVs, compacts. It was nice to create something completely from scratch. We've got the intro video that gives all the information that you need, and there's a lot of it now with spoilers, downforce, advanced handling flags, drift tires, all this kind of extra stuff is now all in one video, so I don't need to talk about it in every single testing video. And I put all of my learnings, I guess, from the Best Fully Upgraded Cars series over the last 9 years into this new series. And it feels nice to have the core classes all done with no interruptions. You know, there isn't a random DLC vehicle in the middle. Oh yes, there was testing of bicycles. Everything. People always do this. People always say, oh, did you test this? Or, oh, what's the testing of this vehicle? And like, no matter how obscure you think it is, it was tested. And it'll all be in that Best Fully Upgraded Cars testing series somewhere. And then obviously I experimented a little bit with the shorts as well. But yeah, you can see, you know, how we've got the brand new graphic at the start for the intro, categorizing the non-raceable vehicles first, get them out of the way, and then the tier system. And it just makes everything work so much better when you've got the tier system overlaying everything else. When you're thinking about putting the lap time and the top speed together, the tier system combines those perfectly. Because otherwise you would organize it by lap time. I mean, most of the tiers are organized by lap time anyway, but obviously you've got your outliers with the higher top speeds that would put them into a higher tier, or vice versa. And, you know, you could put them together, but if you organized it purely by lap time, people would say, well, that car's the best in the class for top speed and it's miles down the order. Like, why is that? And I think that the tier system just works so well for this sort of categorization. When you're trying to take into account lap time and top speed together, that was the final part of the piece of the puzzle to be able to put them together. And that's what this new series has done. And this is the reason that I even did this retesting. I mean, I've, you know, every single car that you've seen in the retesting, in the new testing series, has been retested on new gen. And the reason that I've done that is so that I've set up a baseline of how the GTA 6 testing is going to be in terms of the videos, and also how like if I could even continue fitting in testing within my schedule of everything else that I do these days. You know, when I first started testing, I didn't used to stream 3 times a week or have to make RandomAll or GFred videos every week or anything like that. So I used this as a way to see if I could still do it, basically, and I could. And even if you're not getting the Vans testing video, the open wheel testing video, the off-road testing video yet, but you will. And I think the pace that I put these out has been good enough that for a GTA 6 version, same format, get the testing done. Yeah, and it's a good framework for the GTA 6 testing. So in terms of DLC, that's the thing, that this series hasn't been tested for the DLC yet, and it's going to get tested in a few days. I'll probably do the way that I did it at the end of the Best Fully Upgraded Cars series in terms of DLC vehicles. So if you look at the Best Fully Upgraded Cars stuff towards the end, I think that was the best way to do it. Again, so many videos. Mercenaries DLC shows it quite well. So we got Mercenaries DLC day 1. So that'll be all the vehicles that are available on day 1. And then the drip feed stuff will be tested in their own videos. If it requires a single car in a single video, so be it. And then at the end of the DLC, once everything's been released, there'll be a fastest Mercenaries DLC vehicles, all cars. So then it collates everything together. And then in the playlist, this is the video that would go underneath the class videos. And all these other videos would be sort of squashed to the bottom of the playlist because you don't need them at that point because you've got the collated video, if you like. That's the plan anyway. And there's no way of getting around the drip feed. The drip feed is the drip feed. They're going to release one car at a time. I'm going to have to make a video for that one car. You know, that's why the testing series are so bloated in the first place. There's no real way of getting around that. But at least when I make this roundup video at the end, it's all about making the playlist as viewable as possible and as easy to digest as possible. So, you know, you've got all the classes, and then you'll have the DLC stuff here containing all the vehicles, and then at the bottom will just be all the extras, basically, and the shorts, for example. So the only thing that's left, and this has been highly anticipated, I'm sure, is comparing the lap times for the new series to the old series. Now, as I've been going through and retesting every single car in the game again for this new series that you're seeing here, obviously all of this testing was done on PS5. All of the original testing for the Best Fully Upgraded Cars series was done on PS4. Most of it anyway. Some of it was done on some of the early expanded and enhanced edition vehicles were done on PS5 but set to 30 FPS. But as I've been going through and doing this retesting, I've been noting down how much faster every vehicle has gotten to its previous time. So I've inputted its new lap time and then noted down a sort of 0.6, 0.5, 0.4 in terms of how much quicker it is on a sort of base level. Now, most cars got quicker. I've got a spreadsheet, because of course I've got a spreadsheet. Most cars got quicker, but some got more quicker than others. I guess we can start with some box plots. We got box plots. How do you go? Can you go full screen with this or not? I don't know how to do full screen on XR. So these are all the classes that I've done so far. Supers, sports, muscle, classics, coupes, sedans, SUVs, compacts. And I think it started to be fairly normal for supers and sports. It was kind of in line with what I was expecting in terms of the lap time improvements. Muscle also the same, but with much wider lap time differences. The one thing I don't like about Excel block box plots is that you can't get rid of these are considered outlier values, the points here, and you can't get rid of those. You can't just merge them into the whisker bit. So really I wouldn't have those, but it kind of shows there are some that are outside of the range of others. Control Shift F1 is full screen. That's better. Thank you, Phil. So this is the lap time improvement. All right. You can see that the average lap time improvement for supercars was, I think it was 0.4. And most cars were within the range of 0.6 and 0.3, I think. You can see the biggest improvement for any car. Can anyone find it? I'll give you a moment to see if you can find what class is it. See if you can spot it. Compacts was fairly. The way to read these plots is that the bigger the boxes, the more cars sort of changed the same in the same way. The bigger the whisker is, or the dots as they are in some of them, the more cars there were that were sort of outliers. They had more differences in the class. Sedans is the correct answer. All the way up here, 2.8 second lap time difference. Don't worry, we're going to go into the classes and see them. There was one in muscle with a 2.4 second difference, and there was an SUV with a 2.5 second difference. In general, most stuff was between. I mean, some cars did get slower. We'll explain those as well, but most cars were sort of in that 0.5 to 0.7 ish. Well, 0.5 to 1 seconds, I think. For if you collate all the classes together. I would say 0.5 to 1 second lap time improvement, most cars would fall into. So everything generally got quicker. It's just that, and a lot of things got quicker by the same amount. It's just that there were some outliers. So let's look at supers first. We got some graphs, because of course we do. These are the lap time improvements. So as you can see, most supercars, in fact 18 of them, improved by 0.6 seconds. All exactly the same. All improved by 0.6 seconds. Most of the others were in that 0.1 to 0.5 range. There was a lot less change in supercars than there was in the other classes. Did the cars generally get quicker, or did the driver get quicker? See, this is a thing for you to decide, I suppose, but I would say that it's the physics engine that slightly changed, because I didn't really do much different, and I wouldn't improve by this amount, basically. And what I saw was that cars that get more boosts from curbs got quicker than cars that, cars that are better on bumps, basically, got quicker than cars that aren't. For example, the Schlagen GT, which is super smooth, literally did not change its lap time. It was exactly the same as its previous lap time. Whereas other cars that were more susceptible to getting speed boosts from the bumps, they did improve their lap time more. So yeah, the Entity XXR was the only one that got slower, because it had advanced handling flags. So the cars that had advanced flags that were messed around with the tuners update, they got messed around with again, and ultimately they ended up slower because of that messing around. Cyclone 2 was exactly the same, a lot in the 0.1s. The biggest difference, the Cheetah. The Cheetah improved by 1.1 seconds. The Ignis and the weaponized Ignis as well, both of those improved by 0.9 seconds. Now, some of the older times I found improved by quite a lot. Like, generally, the times that I'd tested more recently, those cars were closer in terms of, like, you know, the let's see, the Xeno is a car that I tested recently because it's a new release, and that only improved by 0.1 seconds. And the Cheetah, which had been a long time since I tested it previously, improved by a lot. But the Ignis and the weaponized Ignis went against that. They're relative. I tested those pretty recently, and there were some cars like that, where I think the S95 in sports was one of them as well. It improved massively, 0.8 seconds for the S95, but I only tested it like a couple of years ago when the expanded enhanced was released. But then again, I did test that at 30 FPS because I was trying to keep it consistent with the old testing. So even though there's no difference, we've sort of proven there's no difference in the 30 FPS versus 60 FPS modes, I think there is a difference in your ability to get a better lap time out of the car more consistently at 60 FPS because you've got more reaction time, things are just smoother, and I think that is part of why the Ignis and the weaponized Ignis also improved by quite a lot. 0.9 seconds is a big improvement. Nothing else, I mean everything else was 0.7 to 0.1, and then you've got the Cheetah as an outlier. And that's not a general rule as well. The Cheetah improved by 1.1 seconds, and yes, it had been a while since I've tested it, but then you've got things where I've tested them years and years ago, like the 811 and the Sultan RS, weren't tested since like 2017 or something, but they only improved by 0.3. So that was Supers, which isn't the most interesting, to be fair. Sports has obviously a lot more cars. And you can kind of see the pattern. There's sort of, in most of these classes, there's like a middle ground where most of the cars all improved by about the same amount. Looking at between the 0.4 to the 0.8 range, Sports had a particular spike at 0.4. Flash GT, another advanced handling flag car, got worse. Only one to get worse. The Neo stayed the same. Schlagen GT stayed the same. Biggest mover in this one, Futo and Futo GTX. The Armored Kuruma also was 1.3 seconds, but there was a lot of vehicles that improved by 1.3 seconds as well. A lot of the tuners actually improved by quite a lot, again because of those advanced flag changes actually helped them. Tropos improved by quite a lot, again likes the bumps, good top speed. Omnis improved by quite a lot, again also likes the bumps. But the Futo and the Futo GTX, massive improvements. The Futos might be driver related. Well, actually no, because the Futo GTX improved by 1.7 seconds. And I'd literally... Oh, again, yeah, tuners. It's a tuner. I forgot it was a tuner. So the Futo GTX probably improved because of the tuner situation. But again, 1.7 is a lot. Comet, yeah, Comet. The 1.3 is Growler. That's a tuner. Then we had the Comet and the Comet Safari. Comet Safari loves the bumps. Comet, I got a much better lap out of the Comet. That was a big improvement. ZR350 tuner. So a lot of the big improvements in sports come from the tuner vehicles because of the advanced flag changes, and then some of the boosty vehicles like the Comet Safari, the Armored Kuruma, and the Futo was probably that's one of the ones that I would put down to being able to handle it better now. Maybe the ones that aren't included in this chart are the Vito Modern and the Vito Classic. The Vito Modern improved by 6.5 seconds. Vito Classic by 3 seconds. Yeah, I didn't have the spoiler upgrade for both of those vehicles when I first tested them. I only realized it after the fact when I retested them. So I haven't included oopsies like that in these lists. And I haven't included the non-raceable vehicles either because the original testing for those might not have been perfect. But yeah, the Vito Modern is the Vito. I found that the Vito Modern was quicker than the Vito Classic originally, but it's actually a lot more quicker than the Vito Classic because the Vito Modern gains more from the spoiler upgrade than what the Classic does because it's got more base traction in the first place. So muscle. yeah, the Picador for the muscle class is a special case because the Picador got the spoiler upgrade, which helped it improve by 2.8 seconds. But then for everything else, again, this middle area, 0.4 to 0.8, you got a few more at 0.1, but you can see how, in general, most of the cars, even though they might change positions a bit, where one will be slightly higher than another, doesn't really make much difference because in general the tiers are approximately the same because they've all improved by a lot of the same amount. We had some big lack of improvement, let's put it that way. The Deviant went 0.2 seconds slower and the Tulip went 0.4 seconds slower. Again, advanced handling flag crap. Piss Was a Dominator got exactly the same lap time. In fact, I think it was to the 1000th, the Piss Was a Dominator lap, which was remarkable. And that, I think, my original Piss Was a Dominator lap was better than it should have been. It was stunningly good. And I could only match it. Saber Turbo Custom also didn't improve though, so they're still together. And then we get to the big improvements from Muscle. Moonbeams. The Chino, 1.9 seconds quicker. The two Moonbeams, 1.9 and 2 seconds per lap quicker. And then the Nightshade, 2.4 seconds per lap quicker. And these big changes in lap time, I actually can't explain them. Like, I had all the upgrades on originally. When you look at the laps side by side, they just look quicker in a straight line. There's one in sedan, the big sedans one is the same. It makes me wonder whether I missed a upgrade on them, like an engine upgrade or something like that, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. There was just some cars that benefited from the move to, and nothing has changed in the back end of as well of these cars' performance in terms of the handling data. They're also the same as they were on the old gen platforms. And it's possible that if I did this retesting on the old gen platforms as well, you would get the same results, such that the big improvements would be seen there as well. It might have been an overall physics update that was happened at some point to the back end of the game. We don't know. Maybe better boosts from the Nightshade. Yeah, it's possible. But all I can do is test things, and this is the most accurate testing that I've ever done. This is the most up-to-date testing that I've ever done. It's brand new and fresh. And these are the differences from my original testing. And to be fair, you know, when we're talking about the original testing, we're talking about 9 years, well, maybe 6 years worth of lap times that are done in all sorts of different circumstances, all sorts of different rooms, and you know, trying to get the best out of what I can, whatever mood I'm in. Or I think my testing processes are better now. But yeah, all I can do is report the best that I can. Classics, again, same sort of story. A little bit more of a towards like a trend towards the higher end on sports classics. Most of it was between the 0.6 to 0.9 range. Roosevelt Valor was the biggest improvement in this one. The Tornadoes had some big improvements. Did we have a... Yeah, the Mariachi Tornado improved by 6.7 seconds, but that's because now it gets all of the upgrades. So it basically just makes it the same as a fully upgraded Tornado. Not an awful lot to write home about with the sports classics, to be honest. That was a fairly normal... This one didn't really have the major outliers either end. Cheburek got worse, GT500 basically the same, but yeah, the HSW Turismo Classic was a surprise how quick that ended up being. But I knew that it had that pace in it as well after having tested the sports and seeing the S95 improve. Where was the HSW S95? That improved by 0.4 seconds. So I knew that the Turismo Classic HSW could also improve because that was also something that I tested at 30 FPS when the expanded enhanced sort of first came out. So, coupes, not many cars in coupes. But again, that same trend. Windsor was the biggest improvement at 1.5 seconds. Windsor drop also improved by quite a bit. But again, you got to put it into perspective. Even though the winds are drop improved by 1.2 seconds, that's in comparison to a lot of the other cars that basically most everything else improved by 0.9 to 1 second. So the wind to drop was only 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 quicker when you take that into account. Then sedans. That is quite the graph on sedans. You've got all of this with the 1.5 down over, which is fairly normal. And then you've got on the outer end here the 2.8 seconds. The Glendale. I can't explain it. I can't explain the Glendale. I don't know. I don't know where that time came from. I don't know how it went 2.8 seconds quicker. I put the laps side by side on my screen, and the new lap just is quicker on the straights. The corners look all exactly the same. It just gains more speed on the straights. So it's not that I missed the spoiler upgrade for the Glendale. It could have been that I missed a turbo upgrade. I don't know. It's impossible for me to know at this point. But yeah, again, it wasn't the secondary color trunk adding traction like a spoiler. It couldn't possibly be that if the corners were all the same. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, I've always been pretty consistent with getting all my upgrades on the cars. It's very rare that I miss something. And for it just gains on the straights. So it's either like a general physics thing, or I missed a turbo upgrade or something like that. I think I can hear the turbo on the original lap though. So like, yeah, I can't explain it. It's not a spoiler, because like I said, it was exactly the same in the corners. New lap to old lap. Stania was the least improver. The Stania and the Washington were very surprising, actually. The Washington improved by 1.2 seconds and the Stania improved by 0.2 seconds, whereas they had pretty much exactly the same lap beforehand. And they've actually got exactly the same stats in the handling data. But I had this tested by somebody else as well to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. I think Nismo tested it for me. And he found exactly the same. That the Washington was a lot quicker than the Stania, but their handling data is identical. So it might be a model thing, like the suspension geometry thing, who knows. But yeah, weird. And that's probably why I've started to expand the testing a little bit to make sure that I test the like the beta versions of vehicles, even though they're meant to be exactly the same and whatnot. You can't get these improvements in the form of percentages rather than flat time now. That's way too much work for this, and this is the last time I'm going to be using this. SUVs. This was one of the big differences. This was one of the earliest ones. The Dubster and the Dubster 2. SUVs were some of the early. I think I started with testing the sports cars again, because I thought if I can test a lot of the sports cars, I can test anything. But then after the sports cars, I'd tested most of them anyway, I went on to testing SUVs and sedans because I just quite like testing those classes, especially SUVs. I like driving SUVs in the game. And the Dubster and the Dubster 2 were the two that caught me by the biggest surprise. Those were the very first, like, wow, that is a big lap time improvement. So yeah, Dubster 2 improved by 2.5 seconds, the Dubster by 2.1. No idea why. Can't explain it. And then everything else was pretty much standard to what we've been seeing from the other classes. Everything in that sort of 0.4 to 0.8, 0.9 range, with a few in the 1.2s, 1.4s. Some of the more recent vehicles like the Jubilee, Landstalker XL didn't improve. Astron HSW improved significantly, I seem to remember. Oh yeah, 1.5, there it is. Crazy. I don't know what I did on the original Astron custom lap. And then 1.8 seconds for the iWagon, but that was because it got the engine upgrade, so it's not included in this. And then finally, compacts. It's not really that interesting because there's not very many compacts. The only interesting thing was the Brioso RA, which went 1.4 seconds quicker, and it also went about 10 miles per hour top speed quicker because when I originally tested the Brioso RA, I tested GTA Men's version because it was locked behind GTA Plus, but at that point we didn't know that the swapping of HSW cars doesn't work properly. So I didn't actually have the full performance of the Brioso RA HSW on the original testing because I'd swapped the car with GTA Men. So that's it's proper time now, and that's why it's extended a little bit at the front of compacts. Club can still do it on the right track though. Yeah, the Panto improved by 1.3 seconds. The Rhapsody improved by 1.1 to make them like 1,000th apart or whatever it is now. But those were the two biggest ones as well. Those were the two biggest movers, the Rhapsody and the Panto. But again, that's in the context of most other compacts also improving by 0.9, 0.8. Just everything, almost everything went quicker and significantly quicker. 0.5 seconds plus. And then this is a lap of everything, a chart of everything, I should say. And you can see what I was saying. Almost everything. I mean, 0.6 was the most frequent lap time improvement. But you're looking in this sub 1 second improvement range. Almost 95% of cars fit into that, really. There was a few more that were in their 1.1 to 1.5 second range, and then you've got dribs and drabs of extreme outliers, and then obviously the outliers that got slower. But yeah, basically the retesting, everything got quicker, and that's all of that can't be explained by just getting a better lap, because some of the vehicles that got quicker were relatively new vehicles just as much as they were old vehicles. So yeah, and 0.6 is quite a lot considering how short the test track is. Any cars that felt harder to get a lap time out of? I don't know, not that I can think of. Not right now anyway. Not off the top of my head. I mean, none of the advanced flags were great, to be honest. The Vamos was a pain in the arse, as always, as you would expect. But that was just as much of a pain as it was. The Toros, basically the advanced flag cars, they felt worse. And, I mean, they got worse as well. Apart from the Tyrant, obviously. I don't know what happened with the Tyrant. I think I got a better... The Tyrant's weird, man. It's just a weird car. Sentinel Classic wide body, what happened with that? You asked me that, and I answered you it, I'm pretty sure, on the original testing video. The Sentinel Classic wide body, the original lap time, it had a little bit of a track extension on it that gave it a better lap time than it should have done. So on my retesting, I made sure to actually keep it within the track limits. So there's little things like that. Again, my testing processes now I think are a lot better than what they were. So little things like that I'm better at seeing and countering. And I test in at times of the day where I'm going to be the freshest and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, the new testing, I think my testing has improved, but that's not to say that my driving has improved. But it'll explain some of it, but it wouldn't explain all of it. So there's definitely some things in there where there's been some differences in physics or something like that going on. Or just the switch to 60 FPS, making it easier to push the car to the limit maybe. Or some actual physics benefits from switching to the new gen versions where they get cars with boosts better or something like that. Because that was the general trend that I saw. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the full sort of retrospective of all my car testing up to this point. Keep calm and continue testing. Store.broughy.com. That's what I've had to do. And this will go into, obviously, GTA 6 as well. I'll be doing, like I said, the new format for this testing in GTA 6. And I'll be doing the rest of the classes for GTA 5 as well. We've got a year and a bit still. But after the DLC is done, I'm going to be going back to that with the class system, vans, off-road, open wheel, then the non-raceable stuff, all of the utility vehicles, commercial, industrial, service, military, emergency. I will be testing it all. Would you prefer Rockstar remove the advanced flags and have to retest, or everything stays as it is? No, I'd still want them to remove them. just for the swinger, as DW put in the chat. The swinger without the flags is just so glorious. That is my testing track on the t-shirt. Indeed it is. That's the layout of Cutting Coroner's GP. Do you want us to spam Reddit with the first testing video again? Yeah, that's how it all started. You can see the 10-year anniversary video for that. Sorry it's taken me so long to get to these, but TDD with the 100 bits. Hi YouTube, if you're confused by this, don't worry, so is Bruff. The Twitch bits on a YouTube stream. And Flatulence with the 254. Will you retest Jumbling Dunes track? Would be ace to have a random all. Lock wouldn't win that, no cap for real, bro. Also, you looking forward to 4th of July to vote? Also, does pineapple belong on a pizza? So much off-topicness there that I'm not even going to respond. We did do the Tumbling Dunes track though on the weekend. That will be a video. The video will make its way to YouTube. It was a good one. It was fantastic. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for joining me for this. For those who've watched it as a video, thank you for watching. I will make sure to put timestamps and stuff and update all that. For the various segments that we've had during this. Hopefully it's been fun to have a little look back. And especially I've really enjoyed all of the lap time change data. I've enjoyed checking, like, every time I'd update a new car, putting a new the lap time difference from it and seeing which improved more than others. It's been really fun, and you know, putting it into something like this, I've actually really enjoyed it. So it's nice that I finally got to show this off, and you've got to see the way that it all shook out, I suppose, in terms of the lap time improvements for the cars. It's been strange going through that process of retesting. Anyway, we've got GTA 4 next, so if anybody's here on the YouTube stream, you can hop over to Twitch and we'll be continuing the GTA 4 playthrough. But yeah. Will there be an updated top 100 cars after all the classes have been done? Never say never, but probably not top 100. I'm more likely for spin-offs for the new series to keep it as relevant as possible. Top 10, top 20 maybe. Fastest for each class. Maybe some fastest rear-wheel drive, fastest all-wheel drive, something like that. But not the super obscure stuff, and not the stuff that's going to... Because a top 100 video would take forever. So, I mean, the sports video has 100 cars in it on its own. And they take a while with those big videos. But yeah, I would also... with the new series, I have to work out how that works with the new format as well. Like, do I put the lap time and the top speed together and then just order it by lap time? You know, how does that look? There's multiple ways, because then the tier system wouldn't apply to any of those spin-off type stuff. So I'm not thinking about any of that right now, though. I need to get through all the classes first. DLC stuff soon for the new DLC, and then all of the rest of the classes. We've done sort of the first half of the classes, from supers to compacts. Next up is the rest of the classes, from vans to emergency vehicles. All right. Thank you guys very much. Thanks for all the support on the testing series over the years. I've really appreciated it, and it's, you know, it is the cornerstone of my channel, so it will always be here. And yeah, thank you very much for supporting me when I do all this. It's a lot of work, and it doesn't get the views that the work should suggest. I've accepted that. So yeah, thank you guys very much for just continuing to support me with that, and hopefully when I start, I can hit the ground running with GTA 6 testing. That'll be interesting, won't it? Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you all. I'll see you all either in a little bit on Twitch for GTA 4, or in the DLC testing video, which won't be part of this series. It'll be part of the new one. Nice way to finish off this Best Fully Upgraded Car series, though. Thank you, guys. See you all later. Bye.